and I guess a showdown win's never simple, is it?
No, it's always one of those games where it's never over till it's over, and I guess we probably got it neutral there towards the end. We sort of got to 40 odd points up, and to Port's credit, they kept coming, and we found a way in the end. But it was pretty even all night. I thought we probably took our opportunities, certainly in front of goal, more so than they did. But the numbers would all suggest that it was, there was plenty of entries for both teams. Contested ball was pretty even. I thought our tackling was a highlight. I thought we really got at them and pressured them really well and created some great opportunities for our forwards that were able to take them. So overall an even game, but we're wrapped with the result. They're never easy to win showdowns, and that was no exception.
John, what do you think started to turn for Port Adelaide when they started getting repetitive goals in that last quarter?
What started to turn? Well, they were winning the ball from the clearance, clearly, and they were getting the ball in. And, obviously late in the game when you're conceding field position, it's harder to move it out of there. And the repeat entries, eventually they took some opportunities now. And some of those opportunities they'd had earlier in the game and maybe missed them from a hitting the scoreboard viewpoint. They were able to convert them better in the last quarter and got some real momentum going.
Did you feel that you needed your defence to be at absolute peak to be able to hold back the number of times they were winning clearances, winning inside?
I thought our defenders were outstanding. I mean, it's as highlighted by the fact that Alex won the medal, but I thought our defenders were very good over the course of the whole night, to be honest. And that's what happens in games of footy. I mean, you get the ebbs and flows in games, and tonight was no different. There was times where we were on top in the contest and we were owning the game and the field position, and at times they got back on top. It's that's the way the game's played now, and I thought our defenders were really good at limiting their scoreboard impact during those periods where they had some control. And probably what we saw in the last quarter was just they got on top. And we had to resist, and we did. It would have been nice if maybe Hugh had have kicked that goal versus kicking them down the mark might have given us a little bit more breathing space. But that's footy. And over the course of it, we won the game.
The sort of slower way you played early, was that deliberate?
The slower way? No, look, I think it was conditions. The conditions were very slippery. I mean, it rained a lot, and we didn't get much rain in the first half, but the ground was very wet. And talking to the players coming off, they were having trouble. Once the ball got on the ground, it was pretty slippery. So it was difficult to really move the ball, in terms of shift the ball around. It became a game a little bit more of a straight line game, and I don't think either side really was able to effectively get some clean ball movement, just simply because of the ball and the conditions, and it did become about surging the ball forward and taking ground versus trying to be too cute with either handball or running out into space and moving the ball. So it was just, again, conditions sort of dictated.
Considering the way that sort of unravelled on you against Geelong and Hawthorn, are you better at understanding what pace to play the game and how to move it?
I think it's always a work in progress. I think it was probably accepting the fact that it was the conditions, and that's how we had to play. And I thought our guys adapted really well to the way that was required. And sometimes we were able to go with some speed, depending where the ball turned over. Other times we had to be more deliberate. So that's the nature of how the game's played. And as I said, we learn every week, and this week would be no different. I'm sure we'd look back and go, did some things really well, some things we'll keep working on and keep trying to improve.
But is it a shift from what people measure and think that Adelaide should be after that 2017 season where everyone saw you surge the ball so quickly?
I think I think the game's changed. I think the reality of the game is now, you look at the scores. There's not many games that have scores over 100. The game has become, sides' defensive actions have become really strong, and scoring is difficult. And that's just the reality of the game we're playing. And if we don't adapt to that and continue to try and play a style which maybe we've been known for a bit for a couple of years ago. But I think the other thing is, a couple of years ago, our contested ball numbers were really strong, and that was what really, to me, epitomised us as a team back then. So, and those numbers are returning to levels we want to get, and tonight was a good example when we were able to be strong in the contest at air and ground. We were able to control the game a bit more. When you lose that, you can lose field position.
Alex, what was it like that last quarter when Port was surging? How did you and the defence hold it together?
Yeah, look, they were coming really hard in the last quarter. They've got some talented players, and when they got some ball movement through the middle of the ground, they were looking really dangerous. So, we tried to keep our composure as best we could. Perhaps we probably didn't do that quite to the level at times during that last quarter, but that's to Port's credit, I think. They, as I said, they've got a number of talented players, and we were able to hold them at stages last night, but their last quarter was, pretty good.
How wrapped have you been with your footy this season?
I'm pleased with the way I'm playing, but we had a number of great contributors tonight, and that's been a bit of a theme of our last month of footy, and I think that's where our form's coming from. We're getting that even contribution that we've had in the past, so that's been really important in our turnaround.
Not many defenders win the medal. It's traditionally midfielders or rucks or forwards or something like that. Did it surprise you, and what's it do to the honour? What's it mean to you personally?
Yeah, no, look, it did surprise me. I'll take it, that's for sure. But we had some great contributors tonight, so I'm very humbled and I feel very honoured to have won the medal. But as I said, there were some great contributors tonight, and I'm very very happy to win it.
Don, how impressed have you been with Alex's season so far this year?
Yeah, he's continued to grow, and that's the beauty. He came into the season having played, how many games he played? 12, 13? Yeah, about that before the start of the year. So, he's had a really great pre-season. It's the first time probably since he's been at the club he's been able to get a full pre-season in and stay on the track. And that's another example. We had Tom last year who was able to, complete all the pre-season. And from that you build confidence in your body, you build real understanding of how you want to play. You sort of start mastering some of your craft, which has, allowed him to come out and play the way he has. And talent's never been the question. It was, obviously for us is keeping him out there, and to his credit, he's done the work and stayed out there, and we're seeing him really blossom into a very good player for us.
Only injured tonight, really, Matt Crouch. Any word on how serious that?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a corked hip, so he was obviously, we tried to get him going in the second half, and he came out and started the second half, but really couldn't get going, and so we decided to ice him up because he couldn't really run. So we'll have to monitor that during the week and see how that settles. But those ones are, don't know. It's too early to say, but we'd hopefully be available next week.
Alex, what do you think your game's developed this year? Who's been the greatest growth for you?
I think, as Don said, I think the continuity of my training sort of allowed me to get a bit better at all the fundamentals, and I just try and concentrate on doing the basics well. So, it's hard to say, and I think there are guys in the back line that really help my game. Daniel and Kyle Hardigan are defending really well, and they're the other tall defenders. So I feel like we're working really well, and as I said, that chemistry, hopefully is building a bit now that we've had some game time together, and I think that's shown in the last sort of month of football.
Your ability to read the play to get the intercept marked, has that been there as a core of your game, or do you feel that's developed this year?
I think that's, again, come through opportunity a little bit. As I said, Daniel and Kyle, take some really difficult opponents, and at times that can give me a bit more of an opportunity. But I think as a back six, we're pretty adaptable, and we need to be able to play different roles at different times. So I think probably that's been a bit of an improvement, that adaptability and flexibility.
In the top four tonight, you must be wrapped. And do you believe now you've got a bit of a platform to spring forward for the?
Yeah, we've had a good solid month of footy. That's the reality. I mean, we've played some good footy. We've obviously got the results, which is a credit to the playing group. I mean, they've sort of, when we were sitting there 1 and 3, we were able to really narrow the focus down, and they've been able to train that, and now they're playing that consistently. So the challenges don't stop though. We get Brisbane up in Brisbane next week, and the comp's what it is. I don't get carried away with the ladder. I'll worry about the ladder at the end of the year. For us, it's about being able to train, repeat, perform, review, and go again. And that's probably been the key of our focus, is to make sure that we don't so much worry about outcome. We focus more on process.
Ross Gibbs available.
When you said to narrow the focus down, did that come from that searching stuff you guys did after the North Melbourne result? Did you have to pick together what was your game and how you wanted to play it?
Yeah, we probably had clarity all the way about what it looked like. Obviously, the first month threw up some challenges for us, and it was probably, as you said, just sitting together and saying, well, okay, what is it that we not so much want to stand for, but what is going to create winning for us? And that's really what the conversation was. And sometimes it's nice to just have a simple focus about what we do, and some of that stuff's around our contest and the way we defend the game, and that's probably been the key areas that we focused on, and that's allowed us to win some games.
So who drove the feedback there?
In terms of?
What do you say about creating what wins for us?
Well, I think the thing is, after the North game, I was sat down and I had, probably after it was a Saturday night game on the Sunday, I walked away having reviewed the game with pretty clear picture myself, engaged our senior leaders about it and said, well, look, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I think actually for us is going to help us, and we agreed on what was really a key messaging about what we want to train, because early in the season we had a few 6-day breaks and we hadn't really trained some of those things, as much as we'd have liked, given the short turnarounds, and it was getting back to doing that. Now, it doesn't have to mean you're out there for half an hour, flogging guys into the ground. It's more just a nice reminder of what the game demands, and the game was demanding more of us than we were giving early in the year. And to our players' credit, they've embraced that, and they're now bringing a lot of that. I think 90-odd tackles tonight indicates exactly the space that they're happy playing in, and that's creating the results, and that's what we need to just continue to focus on.
Just want to say, Bryce Gibbs available next week.
He should be, yeah. He's back settled down really well, and he was in the space where he possibly could have got there today. It was probably more just a question of taking a no risk policy on him.
What about the others? Jacobs, Seedsman, Douglas.
I think both Douglas and Seedsman should be available next week. Jacobs and Miller will be a bit longer, so we'll expect to have those guys back and ready to be available for AFL selection really shortly.
Don, what you said earlier about how the game's changed, if the AFL last year went to the trouble of trying to work out how to get a more attacking-minded, less congested game, and you're telling us, and we're seeing it by the numbers, we're getting more defensive. Where did everyone fall off the page and not get on?
I don't know. That's the great unknown at the moment. We sit here saying, well, we go to 6-6-6 and we go to additional distance for kick-ins and all those sorts of things to try and get more flow in the game. The numbers last year clearly show that teams' defensive actions were a lot stronger last year, and that's just continued this year, in my view. And the 6-6-6, if anything, has probably meant it becomes more contested. Because the reality is you lose a centre bounce, there's no one back there to help you. It's the 6 defenders on the 6 forwards. The other thing is that when they win the ball back, there's no extra player there to start the flow in your ball movement. So it actually becomes, again, trying to generate that off the back of an even number start. So don't know. I mean, there's always a ripple for every rule change, and sometimes you can predict it and sometimes you can't, and that's just what the game's throwing up at the moment. I don't know what the AFL is going to do about it, but.
Is there also a reaction from you as coaches whereby if you think the game is going to be easier for scoring, your first reaction is to become more defensive rather than taking the incentive?
I don't really think about it that way, no. No, we try and play, as I've always said, we try and play in balance, whether it be from the contest, whether it be defending, whether it be attacking. We want to give ourselves opportunity to be strong in all those areas. And sometimes the game, as it did last week, demanded that we had to just grind it out because that was how it was going. Both sides had last week had 50 inside 50s, and no one. What do we kick 7 to 5? That's just the way the games are being played. So I can't. It's hard to fight against how they're being played. You just got to play them and accept them and embrace what is the game.
So, Alex, where do you think the group is at after 8 games now?
As I said, I think our form in the last 3 or 4 weeks has been building. We've still got plenty to work on though. So as we go along, we'll keep trying to work on things and improve each week. That's basically where it sits for us at the moment.
Have you got more goals and behinds this time?
It's always nice. Cheers. Thanks, guys.